Finally, an exciting section to begin. In this section, we will get started with Firebase. Firebase will be our backend for managing our custom orders, payment, and products. Now, to get started with Firebase, come to your Google search engine and search for Firebase. There, click on Firebase console, and this is the console that you will have. Now, to get started, click Add Project. And let's give a name for your project. You could name it whatever you want. I'll just name mine to be Shop App CPT 21. Now you could name it Chat App, you could name it Food App, whatever you desire. I'm just going to go with this name. Continue. Now you could either leave this Google Analytics to be on or off, but I'll leave it to be on. Let's click continue again. And I'll just leave the analytic location to be United States. Let us accept all the terms for Google and let's create the project. Now the provisioning is going to take a little while, so wait for it. And once we are done, we are going to be providing some information that we need to hook our Firebase with the project that we have. Alright, so now let us click continue. And voila, now we are on our Firebase dashboard. Now, in this video, I'll add the Android part, and in the next video, I'll add the iOS part. To get started, let's hit Android. And now we have to provide an Android package name. To get it, let's go to our project. Here you have the Android folder. And let's go to the build.gradle that we have inside Android. Let's go to Android and app. Inside of that, you have the build.gradle. And if you come down, here you have the default config. Firstly, let us change this 16 to be 21. And let us copy this. So com.example.flutter_shop_cpt21. Copy whatever you have. You do not have to be the same as mine. Just copy whatever you have, and then let us go to the console and paste it here. I'll add a nickname, Shop App CPT21. And now this debug signing certificate SHA1 is optional, as you can see. But we need this because for this app, we will be integrating Google SignIn. Now, I will not show you my keys because those are private, and I'll also encourage you to never share yours with anyone. Now, if you do not know how to get this key, come here, you see this page. If you click this see this page, you will be taken to this page here. Come down, and if you have Mac or Linux, just copy this much, go to your terminal, paste it, and if you click enter, you will be asked to provide a password, and the password is Android. And then you will be given an SHA1 key. Just copy the entire thing that you have, not this one, but the one that you get inside your terminal. Come here and paste it. Now, if you are using Windows, go to Windows, copy this whole thing. The same thing, paste it. It will ask for a password. The password is Android, and then you will get an SHA key similar to this one, but not this one. Take that one from your terminal and then paste it here. Now, for Mac, Linux, and Windows, these commands might not work, and that might be due to not having in Java runtime installed on your system. Now, to download it, come to download Java runtime if you do not have it. That is, you will see Java downloads for all operating system. Hit it, and then you'll be taken to this page where you can select to download the Windows Offline version if you have the 32-bit. If you are using the 64-bit, go ahead with the Windows Offline 64-bit. And if you are on Mac OS, download this one here. Similarly, for Linux, come down and select the appropriate one that best fits your operating system. Now, with that being installed, things should work out pretty fine and you should be good to go. So I'll just pause the video, I'll paste my key here, and then I'll hit this button, and I'll see you when I'm in the second stage of this configuration. Right, so I have added my SHA1 key, and now we are ready to download the Google services.json file. So let us download this. Once downloaded, let's go to our project. Here, where you have this Android and then app, inside this app folder, we will drag the Google_JSON file. So let's go to downloads, and here we should have it. Alright, so here we have it, and just take this file and drag it into your app folder inside Android. So Android and then app, and inside this app folder you should have this. So with that, I'll just remove this from my downloads, and now let us go back. Let's click next and then add Firebase SDK. Now for the project level build.gradle, we have to add this dependency. So I'll just copy this dependency, and project level build.gradle is directly inside the Android folder. So inside Android, you have this build.gradle, and here we will be adding this dependency. So where we have this dependency body, let's come inside of it and paste it here. With that, let us go back, and if you come down, now we have to add these things to our app level build.gradle. So app level build.gradle could be found inside the app folder where you have this build.gradle. Now let's apply plugin com Android application. Now if I search for apply plugin, we have this com Android application, and we need to copy this one. So let's go back. Do we have some other apply plugin? No. So I'll just paste this one here. Now if I come back, we need to add this to dependency. So just copy it, come down, and where you have this dependency, paste it. Now if you have chosen to add Google Analytics to your project, you will have this implementation, and if you opted for it, you will not have it. So just copy it if you have it and paste it here. So with that, we are done. Save it, get rid of this, get rid of this. Now let us click next, and we can continue to the console. And in the next video, I'll show you how to add the iOS part of this application. Right, now to get started with the iOS version, let's click this iOS folder and right click here and choose Open in Xcode. You should have this only if you have Xcode installed and only if you are using a Mac. Now, I already have Xcode installed, and make sure that you have this runner and general tab selected. From here, copy this bundle identifier. You need this bundle identifier to be unique when you would finally release your app to the App Store. Now let's go and click Add App inside our Firebase console, and here you have this iOS, so click it, and we need to paste this Apple bundle ID here. Now we can just click Register App, and download this Google Services info.plist. Right. Now inside of this, expand this runner, and here you have this runner. Now click this, drag this Google Services info.plist and take it to your runner folder. Make sure you have copy item if needed selected and click finish. With that, if I minimize this and click my iOS, here the runner should have this Google Services info.plist added here already. I'll also delete this one. Now with that, let's go back to our console, click next, and we are almost good to go. So now we have two apps already added to our Firebase console. Now what I'll do is I'll run this app to check if everything is alright. Now in the next lecture we will add some dependencies and finally check if everything is going right with Firebase. Now with Firebase set up and that out of the way, let us get started with authenticating the user. So first of all, let's come to our console that we have. So I have gone to my project, and here you see on the left hand side for the navigation rail, you have this authentication tab. Click on it. And if it is your first time for this project, you'll be taken to this page first of all, where you have to click get started. So click here, and this should take a while. Alright, so now we are in the page from where we can choose what is the type of authentication we can use. As you can see, we have a whole slew of authentication method that we can use. For now, we will go with email and password. So let's click this, and you have to enable it. So save it. Now what you just did is you have accepted that this project of yours, this Firebase project of yours, is going to be authenticating users for now with email and password. Now to use that, you have to come to pub.dev, where firstly you need to search for Firebase. If you come down a bit, you can see we have Firebase_core. Firebase Core is a plugin that you must provide if you want to connect your Flutter app with the Firebase backend. So click on it, let's go to installing, and let us copy this much. Copy it, come to your project and go to pubspec.yaml. Under the dependency section, let us paste it. Now this is not enough, this is Firebase Core and you must use it if you are using Firebase for any purpose. But for us, we will be using it to authenticate for now. So we need two. Firstly, the Firebase Core, because you must have it if you want to use Firebase, and then we want to use authentication. So for that, we need to search Firebase_Auth. So Firebase_Auth. Firebase Auth is here. Click on it. Let's go to installing. Copy this much. Come back to your project and paste it underneath. So save it, and you should have both the packages ready. Now with packages out of the way, let's go to our main.dart, and we have to change this main function a bit. So firstly, this should be a future that is going to return us void, and let us change it to async. Now in this main method, if you want to use anything other than a run app, firstly you have to write widgets flutter binding. So widgets flutter binding dot ensure initialized. After that, we need to call await, because we want to wait for this. This is the async function that we will run. So async await Firebase dot initialize app. So with that, now we can run this app, and in the next lecture what we are going to do is we will set up the authentication flow. Now we will sign up users with email and password. But first, let's go to this main screen.dart, and instead of this bottom navigation bar, let us change it to be the landing screen. Alright. Now in the main.dart, we do not have anything. What we have to do is go to the sign up screen. So let us head towards the sign up screen. And one thing, if you come down a bit, where you have this row for the circle avatar and the sign up, make sure for the icons, the icon is set up in this way. If images is equals to null, we should have this icon. And if it is not null, hence it should be null. So if I choose an image, alright. Now, what we have to do is come up here where we have all the variables, and here let's make another variable, and this should be a Firebase auth, and I'll name this underscore auth equals to Firebase auth dot instance. You must have an instance in each file that you use auth. So I'll just take this auth, come to our submit form. Submit data is the function for this one, and you must have this in async. After that, when the entire form is validated, after this we want to await underscore auth. So we want to call Firebase auth.instance dot create users with email and password, and we will get this email from email and password from this underscore password. So email will come from underscore email, and password will come from underscore password. Now with that, let us save it. And let us write some data here. So let's do a restart. Let's go to the sign up. Let's click an image. Let's pass a name for me, Neumann. Password, phone number, it was 11 digit as far as I remember. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And for the email, I'll set test@test.com. For the password, let's set it to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What's wrong? Alright, let's click sign up. And now let's see if we did actually sign up. So inside this authentication, where you have this users, let us refresh this. And voila, you see we have this test@test.com, and this was created just a while ago. For the sign up screen, let us do some error handling. And in this lecture, you are going to learn how to try and catch, how to use try and catch, and how to perform error handling, that is. First of all, let's go to our services where we have the global methods, and let us make another dialog. So I'll copy this entire future of show dialog, copy it, and after where it ends, let us paste it one more time. And this should be auth dialog. Now inside of this, we do not need this text button, just one would be good. So get rid of this, and let us write here OK. So get rid of this, and let us pass a string. Subtitle. Now for the title, I want to write here error occurred. And for the subtitle, I'll just pass the variable subtitle that we made here, the argument or the parameter. With that, save it. Now let us go back to our sign up screen. And here, what we want to do is where we have this submit data here, we have this await auth.create user with email and password. So I'll just cut it out and write here try, second bracket, after that catch, second bracket. Inside of the try, we should have our create users, and inside of catch, we want to use our show the dialog method in case we have catch an error. But it's not enough. After catch, we also have finally, and we can do something after finally we're done trying and catching. So try catch finally. Let's go up and let's bring here our global methods. Call it underscore global methods equals to global methods. Now for the catch, I'd like to call my underscore global methods dot auth dialog, and the context should be the error that we get here, or the subtitle. You will want to catch the error here, so error dot my bad. What we should have done actually was error dot toString. So with that, now if we retry the same exact test2, let's see what happens. So let us pass a picture, pass a full name, a phone number 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11, and the email will be same as last, so test2@test.com, and the password 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. With that, sign up. Now you see we have this error. It's a dynamic error. Alright, one more thing. When we press the sign up button, I want this button to go away and it should start spinning. So let's make a variable here. Bool is loading equals to false. Now when we start or click this button, I want to do a set state here where I want to say is loading equals to true, and let us copy this set state, and after the try, catch, and finally let us do a set state and set it back to false. Now where we have this button, sign up button, let's go down. We have this elevated button here, and what I want to do is if is loading equals to true, then I want to return a center with a child of circular progress indicator, and if that is not the case, I want to return this elevated button. So with that, let us try it one more time, and you see it's working. Voila, that's nice. Let us set the auth flow for the login screen. Before we do so, I'll copy our global methods, bool is loading, and this Firebase. So copy it, and I'll just paste it down one time. And now I'll also copy this submit method. So copy this whole thing, copy it. I could just get rid of this now because we already have it one more time up there. With that, let us go to the login screen. And for the login screen, let us paste it here, and we can get rid of this submit data that we have. Import the Firebase Auth, import the global methods, now finally we need to set this we need to change this create users to be sign in users with email and password. So with that, we are almost done. But for the login screen, we also have this button. So let's find this button that we have. And here, let's write is loading. If that is the case, bring me a center with a child of circular progress indicator. Else, give me the elevated button. So with that, save it. So first I'm going to write a wrong email to check the error handling. So test3@gmail.com, password 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Login, we have an error. Now let us try test@test.com. We already have this, so let's see if it works. Yes, it works. In this lecture, we will show the screen depending on the state of the authentication. Now, before we do so, let's go to the main screen. For the main screen, the first screen should be the bottom navigation screen. Bottom navigation screen. Now let's get rid of this. Let's go to our login screen. And where we have this email, this should be .to smaller case, lowercase, .trim. For the password, we are going to do the same. Copy this. Go to the sign up screen. And here too, let's just paste it. Great. Now, let's go to the inner screens that we have, and I'll make a, or in the Auth, I'll make a new file and make it auth_stream.dart. And for this auth stream, let's import a material. Make it a stateless widget. And let us return let's wrap this container in a stream builder. Now what I want to do is, first of all, and the stream should be our Firebase. So Firebase, what's wrong? I'll turn off my Chrome here. Firebase auth dot instance dot auth state change. So this is the stream that we want to listen to. Let's get rid of this builder. Now here, inside the body, let's start working. So if our snapshot dot connection state, for some reason my Laptop is lagging a lot, so I'll just get rid of this. Connection state equals to connection state dot waiting. I'd like to return a center where the child is a circular progress indicator. Else if snapshot.connection state equals to connection state dot active, then we want to do two different things. So snapshot dot connection state equals to connection state dot active. State dot active, and I'll just leave this the body empty. I'll come back to it. After that we have one more else if snapshot dot connection state equals to connection state dot has error. Where is it? We don't need to check the connection state. We can just write snapshot dot has error. So it has error. We want to return a text where it says error occurred. Now, what is the error that we have? Now for the first else if, where we have this body, we need to write firstly if snapshot dot has data I'd like to return the main screen. Else I'd like to return the landing screen. So with that we don't really have an error, but I'm not sure why is this stream builder asking for a return statement. We already have return statement depending on the conditions. So what I'll do is I'll come out here and just maybe say return null. Does that work? Maybe let's say return the landing screen. So with that, let's go to our main.dart, and where we are showing this main screen for the home, we want to show the auth state screen. So now let us save it. And what I'll do is in the next video, I'll rerun this app and see what happens. Now let us get started with logging the users in. So you see for this landing screen, whenever we click login, there's a new page that pops up. And when we actually log in, this is not the page that will change, but this underneath page is what is going to change, because this landing page is being managed from this auth state screen, where we have all this logic, what should happen when the user has connection or doesn't have a connection. So if we come to this login screen, when we do this sign in with email and password, we have this .then method. And what we want to do here is we want to write navigator dot can pop. If that is the case, I want to call navigator dot pop, and if it isn't the case, I just want to return null. So save it, and we also want this exact same thing, copy it for the sign up screen. Great. Now let's go to the login screen and let us write our test at test.com, and for the password 123456789. Login, and voila, we're working. Now we should also set up the logout. So go to the user screen, and here you will find the logout button, and make this an async. Afterwards, we want to call await Firebase auth dot instance dot signout. So with that, save it. And now if I click logout, we logged out. Let's do a sign up. Give it a new picture. Give a name. Email test3@test.com 123456789. Sign up. Zero, 1, 2, 3. Alright, so we signed up. Now you see, even if we reload this app, we will come back to the store page because we are already logged in. You see, it's working nice. And if I sign out, this is the only case, even if we restart the app, we won't go back because we signed out. Now let us sign in again. So go to login, test@test.com, password 123456789. Login. Nice. Let us get started with Google SignIn. Come to your public dev and search for Google space SignIn. Here you should see this dependency section here where you can click in and go to installing. Then get the dependency here and go back to your project where you have your pubspec.yml, paste it, and then save it to get the package. Now with the packages in hand, firstly we have some configuration to do. If you come back here and go to readme, you see for Android there is nothing special you have to do, but for iOS this is what you need to change. So just copy from this area until this key, copy it. It says go to your iOS runner and info.plist. So let's go there. iOS runner info.plist. And we can come after any key and string pair and paste it here. Great. Now it says that you need to replace this thing here. And you can find this inside your Google Services info.plist reversed client ID. So let's go to Google Services info.plist and let's just copy this and let us search for it. And this is what it is. So from this com until here. So copy it. We do not need this Google Services info.plist anymore, and we can just get rid of this one here and paste it here. Great. Now let us set the logic for signing in with Google. Firstly, let us make a variable here. So Firebase Auth underscore Auth equals to Firebase Auth.instance. Now let us make a future void method and name it underscore Google SignIn, and this should be an async method, of course. Now inside of this, let's make a variable final Google SignIn equals to Google SignIn, and then another variable final Google account equals to await Google SignIn dot sign-in. Afterwards, we need to do an if check. If Google account is not null, we need to make another variable that says final Google Auth equals to await Google account dot authenticate. Afterwards, let's do another if check. If Google Auth dot access token is not equals to null and Google Auth dot ID token is not equals to null, in that case we want to do a final auth result equals to await underscore auth. Now we are accessing Firebase auth dot sign in with credentials, and for the credentials we have the access token and ID token. And we need to pass here our Google Auth provider, where we have the ID token, Google Auth provider dot credentials, of course. And inside of this we have the ID token, which should come from our Google Auth dot ID token, and the access token should come from Google Auth dot access token. Now with that, let us take this name Google SignIn and let's go down where we have this Google button, and I'll just paste it here. Now one more thing that is left to do. If we click Google, we cannot sign in. We need to go to our Firebase, go to authentication, and here we have our sign in method, where you must enable the add new provider. You need to enable this Google provider. If you do not do this, you cannot sign in. So save it. And hopefully we should be good to go now. So let's check after this is done, and it is done. So with that, let's do a hot restart and let us click the Google button. Wow. Now let us do some error handling for the Google sign-in. I'll take this final auth result, so it starts here and it ends here. So I'll just cut it out, make a try block, and then a catch block. In the try block, I'll just paste whatever I have copied. So here it is. And for the catch block, I want to use our global methods. So global methods equals to global methods. And here we can call our global methods dot auth dialog, and for the subtitle we can pass error dot to string. So with that we are good, and let us see if we can actually use this Google. And here we are. Great. Let us now get started with the Firebase Firestore. And Firestore, for using Firestore, you must come and search for Firestore in public dev and come to this dependency here, cloud underscore Firestore. Come to it, go to installing, take this package, go to your project where you have a pubspec.yaml, paste it here, save it, and you have to run the project. So give it some time to test and fetch all the required dependencies, and then let us go to our main.dart, and as soon as this is done fetching, we can run it. Great, now let us run this. Now while it is running, let's go back to our project in the Firestore, and here we have this Firestore database. In database we can save NoSQL data, and we can store all the user related and product related data there. To create your database, click on to create database and start in test mode. I'll just leave it as it is, enable it, and now we are provisioning the Firestore. Now, while our app is building, before we do anything, let's go to the rules. And the rules you see here is limited to a finite time. So anyone before this date can interact with your database. Now, I would like to change this rule, and I'd like anyone to be able to use it. So I'll just get rid of this and publish it. Now, anyone who wants to can read and write to this database. What is wrong? Great, so we did publish our rule, and there is no tight security. It's a fairly bad security rule that we have, but for now it is going to be alright. And let us see if our app has started. It didn't. Go back to data, and now you see there is nothing here. So what we will do is we will manually connect everything inside the app, and later you will see that things are filling out here in the database. Let's go back to our app, and hopefully this should be done in a while. Let's wait for this to finish up a bit. Alright, so here we are. Let's go back to Auth, where we have the sign up screen. And inside of this, where we have this submit data, we need to do a certain amount of writing. Firstly, before we do anything, let us set some variables. So first, final date equals to, should it be final? Should it be var date equals to date time dot now. Var parsed date equals to date time dot parse date. Let's set the toString to here. And now we have to come here where we have the formatted text, var formatted text, formatted date equals to, should be a string where we have this a $sign, and then $sign. Great. What I'd like to set here is date dot day. Should I call parse date dot day, and then the parse date dot month, and here parse date dot year. Great. Now I have shown this because I would like to save my joining date in this format, or I'll show you two ways that we can use this date. So now inside the try block that we have, after we are done, let's come back here, and after the, I'll just get rid of this then. We do not need this then here. So let's just get rid of this. And here, let's save our data into the Firestore. So firstly, let's make a final user, because we need to know which user is it. Final user. Let's name it user equals to underscore auth dot current user. Then we have our final underscore UID equals to user dot UID. So this way we can find who's the user that is using it. And now let's access Firebase. Firestore. Why can I not access it? Let's go back to our pubspec.yaml and get the packages one more time. Let's go back to the project and start writing. So Firebase firestore.instance.collection, and here we can pass our, and the users, the collection name should be users first of all, .doc, and the document should have our underscore UID. And here I want to set, and set is going to take a map, inside of which Firstly, let's set the ID to be underscore UID. We have the name, and the name is going to be our underscore full name from the text field. We have the email, and it can come from the email that we have for the text field. We have the phone number that can come from the phone number that we have. We have the image URL, and I'll show you how to get the image URL later. For now, let us just pass an empty string. And then we have the join date. And this join date could come from our formatted date that we made. And lastly, let's make a created at. And for this one, we can use timestamp, and timestamp is something that comes from Firestore. Timestamp dot now. Why is this timestamp not being usable? Not really sure. I think it should come from Firestore, so I'll just comment it out. Alright, now after that, let's come here, and after we are done with all this, we can call navigator dot can pop, if that is the case. Navigator dot pop else be null. So with that, save it, and let's go to sign up. And now let's do a new sign up. We need to access some sort of image, so I'll just minimize it and come back here, open the camera that we have, and just take a photo, because we can only select photo from the gallery. So let us take this photo. Now let us go back to our app, and hopefully we can access that very same photo that we had. We still cannot, so let's go to Google and let us just download a photo. Let us just search for image and see what image we find. Let's just open this image. Download image. Yeah, just download it. Now let's go back to our app, and hopefully we can access the image. Okay, give me this image. Great. Let's give a full name of test. Let's give a phone number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. An email address could be test@testy.com, and the password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So with that, let's click sign up. And voila, here we are. Now let's go back to our Firebase. Let us just reload this page and see if we have some new collection. So we have this users collection. We didn't have this before. Also a UID. And you see the email is here, the ID is here, the same as this one. The image URL is empty. Join date is here, name is here, and the phone number is here. So in the last lecture, we kept the user data into the Cloud Firestore. In this lecture, we are going to do the same, but first we need to upload our image. So the image we use while signing up, and then we will save the URL of that image into the Firestore. To get started, let's go to this console we have, and here you have this storage option. Click on it. If you haven't clicked it already, you need to click here, get started, after which you will be taken to this place. Now let's go to pub.dev, and here you can search for Firebase_storage. This Firebase storage lets you save file. Come to installing, get the dependency that you will be shown there. This one right here, copy it, go back to your project, there you have your pubspec.yaml, and paste it here. Now save it, Ctrl S to get the packages, and then let us start working. Firstly, let's go to the sign up screen, because we have our image there, and let us make a variable first. String underscore URL equals to empty string. Now let's come down, and here where we are doing is valid, and then if is valid, I'll just remove this set state from here. Remove this. Now if it is valid, firstly I want to save, and then we have our try catch. Inside this try catch, let's do an if check. If underscore picked image that we have underscore image equals to null, I'd like to return our global methods. So underscore global methods dot auth dialog, and for the context I'll display please provide an image. My bad. This one should be right here. Great. Afterwards, we have our else block, where I want to do the set state of underscore is loading to be true, and afterwards I want to save the image first before I authenticate or before I finally sign up. So let's make a final ref equals to Firebase storage dot instance dot ref dot child, and the child should be user images, and inside of this we need another child where I want to set the user full name plus dot jpg. Now let's come underneath this and say await. So I want to wait for this to happen, so ref dot put file underscore, just a second, underscore image, and then we can get the URL. So the underscore URL that we have should now equals to be await ref dot get download URL. So now we have the URL of the image after we are saving it to the storage, and now we can pass the URL to the data that we are using here. So now we can finally pass the URL, and afterwards let's await auth.create users. So what we are doing right here. just get this. Okay, so now we have an error. And what's the error? Let's come down here where we have this sign up, and for the sign up we were using the image, so let's find it first. File image. So I'll just copy this one here. Let's go up. Okay, so we are good. Now let us restart and see if we can actually save the image somewhere. So let's go to our storage and remove all the authentication that we might have. Let's get rid of all the users. And let's go to the Firestore database and also get rid of everything that we might have. Alright, so now with that, let's go to the sign up. Let's take a picture. Let's pass a full name, phone number, an email of test@test.com, and a password of 123456789. So let's sign up now. Please not authorized to perform the desired action. Alright, so we have an error. The error is because for the storage we need to set up the rule, and the rule says no user who's not already authenticated cannot put things up there. So to tackle it, we're just going to remove that and say that anyone can read and write. So let's just remove this and publish it. So with that, let's try one more time. Great, you see it took a long time because it was saving first of all. So now with that, if we go to the storage, you see we have this user image folder, inside of which I have my name.jpg. That is great. And if we go to the Firestore database, you have this user collection where now you have this URL of the image. And if I copy this entire thing, this entire URL, and paste it here, you see I have the exact same image. Now one thing, to save the size of your images, or to save the size of your storage, one thing you could do is come to this image picker and put a quality here. So quality, image quality should be set to 20 or 30. I'll just set it to be 30 for now. You could set it to 10 as well. So with that, you will save a lot of space And yeah, that's it. Let us fetch the data that we have for the user screen. So in the user screen, you have this phone number, email, address, and joined it that you need to provide. Now let's go to the user screen that we have. So I can find the user screen right here. And here, firstly, let us declare some variable. So firstly, late string underscore UID. But first, before getting it, I'll also do a Firebase Auth underscore Auth equals to Firebase Auth dot instance. And I could just use this auth where we were logging out. So let's go to the logout section here. And instead of this Firebase instance, I could just use this auth. And we should be good. Alright, let us initialize some other variables. So late string underscore name, late string underscore email, late string joined at, and a let int phone number. So with these variables declared, let us come down where we have this init state, and before the init state, let us make a method. So a void underscore get data, and this should of course be async because we will fetch the data from the server. So firstly let's get the UID, because depending on the UID we need to get the information. So user equals to underscore auth dot current user. Now we can set the UID. So underscore UID equals to user dot UID. Great. Now afterwards, let's get the data of this user against this UID from the Firebase storage or the Firebase cloud storage. So let's do a final document snapshot. That's what you do for getting the document, and I'll name it user docs equals to await Firebase Firestore dot instance dot collection, and the collection was users dot doc, where I want to pass the underscore UID, and for this UID I want to get everything that it has. And now we can set the name. So underscore name equals to user docs dot get, and the name was at, if I go to the storage, the cloud Firestore, the name is just name. So let's just get the name. Then we have the email for that user docs dot get email. Then we have the joined at, and we can access it by user docs dot get join date. And lastly, we have the underscore phone number, which we can access by the user docs dot get phone number. And the best place to run this method is in the init state, because init state will run before this page has been built. So here, let's come down and let us call our underscore get data, and we should be good. In the next lecture, I'll show you how to implement all this data that we have. Now we have all the data we need for this user screen. one thing that is left is getting the image URL. So let string underscore user image URL. And we can get it here. So underscore user image URL equals to user docs dot get, and here we need to get the image URL. So just copy this and here. Now if you want to use this, firstly cut this and do a set state, because you need to update the variables that you have here. And once done, let's come down. What I'd like to do is I want to use this image by default. So for the bottom navigation screen, this is the bottom navigation screen. Let's go to the home screen, and we have this image here. So I'll just get it, copy it, and I want to use it for the user screen. So I'll just paste this one here and also paste the same thing here. So with that, save it. And now let us start using the things. So firstly, I want to pass the underscore user image URL, and if it is null, I want to use this one. Likewise, do the same here. So underscore user image URL, if that is empty, so 2 question mark, I'd like to use this one. How is it a constant? Alright, I'll just leave it. Let's go to the user screen. Now you see we have this image. Okay, so now let's go to the phone number section that we have. Here we have it, and let's write, I'll just get rid of this number and say underscore phone number, and if that is empty, pass me an empty string. To string, I think that is the same error we have here. So user image dot to string. Alright, just leave it. Then we have the email, and let's do the same here. So underscore email, and if that is empty, pass me an empty string. For the address, I'll just leave this empty now. Get the join date, so underscore join date, and if that is empty, pass me an empty string. Now what might be the error we have for the image? So here we have image.network, and here we have a network image, and that shouldn't really be a problem. So let's just come here and go back. Now you see we have everything here. Late initialization of what is failing? Phone number has not been initialized. How is it not being initialized? Alright, so now for the image, let's just cut it out. And here, let's pass underscore user image. And if that is null, pass me something else. So if underscore user image URL equals to null, is not null, I want to pass the network image, where I want to pass the user image URL. And if that is not the case, I want to pass another network image where I have the URL. The value in a const list literal must be constant. Where is the const literal being used? I see. So if this is the case, we could actually use our old thing that we have. So just copy this much, copy this URL, cut it out. If it's not the case, give this one to me. Okay, so let's go to the user screen, and voila, that is great. Let us update a few parameters for the user. But before going there, things that I have improved a bit is remove all the late that you have here. You do not need this, and initialize them with an empty values, like here. Come underneath, and everywhere where you were using double question mark and then a single value, for example, phone number and then 2 question mark and then empty string, we don't need that. Just put the phone number dot to string, the email, the join date, and so on. Now after that, let's go to the sign up screen. And here where we are getting the UID, so where's the UID? Here where we are getting the UID, what I'd like to do is update some user information. So user dot update profile, so user dot update photo URL, and the photo URL is the URL that we're getting. So underscore URL, we also need to user dot update the display name, and the name should be the full name that we have, so underscore full name, and then we can call user dot reload. Great. Afterwards, we will use this very information in the user screen. So save this and go to the user screen, and instead of getting the phone number and the name like this, what we could do is we could call here underscore user, or was it just the user dot display name dot to string, and we could come to the URL and get user dot photo URL dot to string. Now with that, let us save it. I'll go back and log out. Now let's sign up again and say my full name is Tester, phone number is 01 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11, email address test2@test.com, and the password 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and let us also set an image. Now with that, let's sign up. And go to the user screen, and you see our name is Tester. Great. Let us now sign in anonymously or as a guest. Firstly, let's go to the authentication tab, and mind you, I've deleted all the records for the users, the Cloud Firestore and the storage. Alright, that being said, let's go to the sign in method, and first you need to add the provider of the anonymous login. So click add new provider and then choose anonymous. Click enabled and save it. Now your project is ready to accept anonymous logins, and now we just have to do the coding to make it happen. Let's go to the project, and I'll go to the login screen first of all, where we have this submit data, and I'll just take this method that we have, go to the landing screen, and before I paste it, firstly let's make a bool underscore is loading and make it equals to false. With that, let us paste this one here. Great. I'll get rid of these two lines, get rid of this two and this if statement, and instead of this sign in with email and password, I just want sign in anonymously. Alright, that being said, now I'll just take this method and change its name to be sign in anon, and I'll just copy it. Now let's go down where we have this guest button. Here we have it, and we do not need to change the route anymore. Instead, I'll just paste the method that we have. And now let's check if it works. And yes, here we are. If I go to the main screen, you see we have some error, and as you can see, we are getting errors here because we are not fetching anything, because we are fetching for a user that doesn't exist, because it's an anonymous user. So firstly, let's log out, And let's set up the is loading first. So for the elevated button, I want to check if is loading. I want to show a circular progress indicator, and if that is not the case, I would like to show the button. So save it and let us try it again. So click on guest. That's not the look I wanted. May I just wrap it with the center? Let's try one more time. Alright, much better. Now let's go to the user screen, and here where we are doing everything, firstly I'd like to check if user.isAnonymous. If that is the case, I want to do a null, or else await for this Firebase Firestore. Now what's the problem here? Available string can't be assigned to variable type object. Alright. And here let's do another check. So if user.isAnonymous, I would like to return, else I can do this set state. And what's wrong here? We're still getting an error because we are doing a document snapshot for a user that just doesn't exist. So one more thing we could do is perhaps cut it out and bring this one right here. So with that, let us just restart and go to the user screen. And now the only error we have is the image, and that isn't a big problem. Let us fix an error for the Google SignIn. If you click onto Google SignIn, and then if you go to the user screen, you will see you have a lot of error, because for the user screen we are trying to fetch data that simply doesn't exist when we sign up with Google. That's because we never told our Flutter to save data from Google to Firebase, right? Right. So to tackle it, let's go to the sign up screen, and here's the code that we are using to save our data. So I'll just copy this much, go to the landing screen where we have the Google SignIn. Here we have it, and right after this access token, I'll just paste it here. Now we need to access the Firestore. Let's put it here. Alright, we have to access the Firestore, so let us import it. And now we need to access all of this. Firstly, let's get this formatted date from up here. So there's 3 variables. I'll just copy it, come back here and paste it here. Now we need to get this UID. So we can get this UID from this auth result. So if I call our auth result.user.uid, here we have it. To get the UID again, let's just copy from here until auth result. So I'll just copy it, paste it right here. To get the name, paste this one and say display name. Paste this one here and say email. Paste this one here and say phone number. And for the image, paste this one here. Right, photo URL. So with that, we are good and we shouldn't have a problem. So let's just restart and see if it is working. So now if I click Google, and if I go to the user screen, you see my name is coming right up here. Now let us start working with the upload a product screen. First, let's go to the sign up screen, and here we have this method that we can use, because for the sign up we are uploading things to the database and also the storage, so we can use it. Firstly, before we do anything, I'll just copy these 4 items. So I'll just copy it, all of this, come to the upload product and paste this one right about here. Let's get the Firebase Auth. We do not need this global methods, we already have it. Alright. Now let's get this one here. Get all of this. I can just copy it from this if until here, so I'll just copy this much. Copy it, come to the upload product screen, and where we have this try submit, let us just get rid of this and paste it here. I'll get the Firestore. Now let us start working from top to bottom. This full name should actually be the product title.jpg. We do not need this await auth. There is no need for it. Update display. We do not need these 2 lines. Or these 3 lines. This should be products, and here we'll change this one later. Let us also delete all of this. I'll uncomment this, and to get the timestamp we have to import Firebase. So let's go to pub.dev. Let's get Firebase. And I'll take this Firebase, go to the pubspec.yaml and paste this one right here. Also we need one more item, that is the UUID. So come to UUID, come to installing, get this one and paste it here. I'll just cancel it and get it one more time. Great. Let us use this timestamp. Why can I not use this timestamp? Timestamp.now. Alright. After that, before we do anything here, let's make a variable here. Call it final UUID, or should it be var? A var UUID equals to UU let's go to the example, or maybe the readme, and we need to initialize it first. So UUID, UID, and let us import the UUID. Not really sure why UUID is not working, so I'll just get all the packages one more time. You can just get rid of this Firebase. Now with that, let's see if UUID is actually working. It is not, so let us also get this import line. Paste it somewhere here. Great. Now to use it, I'd like to use this UUID v4. So just copy it. Come down here, and where is it? Let's make a final product ID equals to UID v4, and I can use this product ID to be here. Now let us do all the data that it needs. So firstly, I should have a user ID equals to underscore UID. We need all of this. I'll just copy it where I have already written it up. These are the items that we need, so copy one by one. And the product ID should be the product ID that we just made. The product title should be the underscore product title. Price should be underscore product price. Description should be underscore product description. Category should be underscore product category. For the image, we have underscore product image. Do we or do we not? We have underscore image. For the brand, we have underscore product brand. For the quantity, we have underscore product quantity. So with that, we almost have everything. Now we can just take this, try submit, copy it, and search for where we have this bottom sheet. We have this bottom sheet here, and whenever we click onto something, so what should happen is if is loading is true, I want a center with a child of circular progress indicator, else I want the text. So save this. Now let us do a hot restart and see if things are working well. So I'll go to the where we have this price text field. We can, instead of this one here, so I'll just copy it and comment it out, and then use digit only instead of this. So digit only, and with that we can write things here. Alright, so with everything, the only error was the product image, instead of underscore image, should have been this URL the whole time, because we are firstly uploading this image and then we are getting the URL, and the URL is what we need to save for the Firestore. Now let us get started with fetching the products from Firebase. Let's go to the models and providers, and where we have this product dart, I'd like to fetch everything here. Because if you think about it, if I fetch things in the feed screen, we will only fetch it for the feed screen and not these places. And if I do it for all of this, I will only fetch it for this categories and brand and not for the feeds. And that is something we do not want to do. We want a solution that matches our state management, and hence this is the way forward. So I'll just comment it out. Right, and let's make a new list, because now we have all the errors, and name it list underscore product, make it underscore products equals to an empty list. Great. Now let's make a fetch method. So future void fetch products should be an async. And now let's do what we have to do. Firstly, await Firebase Firestore.instance.collection, and the collection's name is products. There I want to get everything, and then let's do a query snapshot. So a query snapshot of product snapshot. And with this, what we want to do is firstly call our underscore product and set it to be an empty list again. And then call our product snapshot dot docs dot for each. And for each element inside this product snapshot, we want to set things. So firstly, what I want to do is call underscore product list dot insert, and I want to insert there at index 0, and the element should be a product. So a product, and a product has all these items. So now to get the ID, what we have to do is call our element.get, and it's a product ID. So let's just copy this product ID. Now I'll just copy this whole thing and paste it here, 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 now for the price and quantity, first of all, let's just cut it out, and for the price it should be double.parse. Inside of this, let us set this. For the quantity, this should be int.parse. So I'll cut it out and say int.parse, and then paste it inside of it, and we are good. Now this popular and favorite should be underneath. That's how I prefer it. So I'll just paste it right below everything. Let's get rid of this comma. Great. So now we have a method to fetch all the data. Let's go to the home screen. Where is our home screen? Here. And for the home screen, what we can do is here we can call product data dot fetch products. So with that, if I save it, so we have set everything to be product IDs. Now it's time to change it. So for ID it's alright. For title, let's go to the title and take this name, copy it, paste it here. For the brand, we have the product brand. Copy it, paste it here. For the product description, let's go to the description, copy it, paste it here. For the image URL, let's go to the product image, copy this, come back here. For the price, come to the product price, copy it, paste it here. For the product category name, we have this here. Paste it right here. For the quantity, we can get the quantity from here, so copy it, paste it here. For the is favorite, is favorite is set to false, I guess. So I'll just set this to be false and this one to be false. So with that, save this and let us hot restart. Now if I go to the feed screen, wow, we have it here. But I guess that's a wrong name. So let's check. Yeah, things are alright. Phones, barely. We have this range error. We will fix this in a later date. Alright, so that's how we are fetching data from Firestore. Let's fix the range error in the product detail screen. Come to the suggested product section, and where we have this item count of 7. Now if you think about it, we will not have 7 items because we only had 1 in the last video, right? Because I have only added 1 item to the Firebase, and 1 item is what I'm getting back for this app. So 7 is something that doesn't exist. So what I can do is I can come here and say product list dot length. If that is less than 7, I want the count to be product list dot length, and if that is not the case, I want it to be 7. So with that, I can save it and we should be alright. Now let us get started with resetting our password for logging in. So firstly, let's go to this Auth where we have this login screen, and what I'll do is I'll copy the whole thing. So I'll copy the whole login screen, and in the Auth, let's make a new file, call it reset underscore password underscore screen.dart, and inside of it, let's just paste it. Now all login should become reset, so I'll just Ctrl F and search for logins, and all this login should become reset password. So with that, change all of them. We do not need any of this wave, so I'll just get rid of this rotated box entirely. Really do not need that. We have this form, and yes, that should be good. So now to use this, firstly let's go to this main.dart and let us initialize it here. So reset password screen dot route name ctx should return us our reset password screen. Great. Now let's go to the login screen, and in the login screen, just after this button, I want a forget password switch. So let's search for this login. We have this here. and I'll just take this much and paste it right below it, and we do not need this check here, and this could just be a text button where I say forgot password, and on pressed should be navigator dot off context dot push named, and the name should be reset password screen dot route name. Alright, so when we click this, I'd like to come to this reset password page. So let's go to this reset password, and firstly let us change this to be 55. Alright, we do not need the password text form field. We absolutely do not need it. So I'll just get rid of this. We also do not need the create an account. Now for the try submit method here, what I want to do is instead of this sign in with email and password, I want to send password reset email, and the email should come from underscroll email that we have. So underscroll email. I'll get rid of this as well. We do not need this bool visible. Do we need this change visibility? We do not need this change visibility. So now let's see what happens. So let's write here fluttercraft.io at gmail.com, and now let us reset the password. There is no user record corresponding to the wow. Is that not nice? Because we do not have a previous account with this email. Firebase is showing us an error that there is no user with this email, so you cannot reset it. So let's go back. Let us do a sign up first of all. So I'll do a sign up. Give a picture. Give a name of FlutterCraft. A phone number of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Email address fluttercraft.io at gmail.com. And the password, I'll set it to be ABC1234567 So with that, let us sign up. So we did sign up. Let's go to the user screen. And what I'd like to do is, first of all, I'd like to log out. So now let's go to the login screen, and let's go to the forget password and write our email here. fluttercraft.io at gmail.com. Say reset password. And let's go to our ID and see if we have, wow, we have it. So you see we have reset your password for this project. Is that not nice? Now, reset your password for project this is a very bad thing, or a very bad way of reading it. You could go to your Firebase console where you have authentication and go to the templates. There you have password reset, and you can change everything here. That what should be the name, what should be the email like, what should be the subject, so on and so forth. Great. In the next section, we will get started with a payment for this project.